Lately, the Helm of Domination, also known as the Helm of Wills, has been all the buzz as the most iconic helmet in the entire history of Warcraft. Not even arguably, it straight out is, has been transformed into the so-called Helm of Wills. However, not only has it been transformed, but it has also been given to a completely new character in the Shadowlands, and the entire history of the Helm of Domination has been altered. I have been quite a bit negative about the game lately, but this just straight out offended me with what they did to this famous helmet. So what is going on with the headpiece of the Lich King? If you ever wanted to test out unreleased indie games and communicate with the developers, then this video sponsor G-Round might just be the gaming community for you. You can play 2 free games every week with new games updated every Thursday. You can directly talk with the devs, provide feedback, help them out, and you can gather G points by writing reviews, and then you can use these points to buy amazing gear through the G Point store. So use my link in the description, download, play, have fun, and help game developers with G-Round. As you all know, until about a year ago, the lore of the Lich King and the Helm of Domination was quite a bit different, to say the least. Originally, the Lich King was created by Kil'jaeden in order to soften up Azeroth for the invasion of the Burning Legion, and it was said to have been made by the Dreadlords that were working directly for the demonic army. While Frostmourne was a big deal, and it is what corrupted Arthas, the Helm of Domination was literally the Lich King himself. This was the main piece. Once Arthas destroyed that shard of ice and took the helm from Ner'zhul, he literally became the Lich King. This is what actually made him. It is what defined this Jailer of the Damned, and really, it is without a doubt one of the most iconic pieces of gear, really the most iconic piece of gear, and I'm sure everyone that even heard about Warcraft would be able to recognize this helmet as soon as they see it. Well, all of that changed when Blizzard decided to introduce the genius mastermind Zowell into the lore, and almost all of this was completely retconned. Now, this much we knew since the start of the expansion, even months before during the beta, but lately there has been a few more bits of information in regards to the cooperation of Zowell and the Burning Legion, and that is with Argus and the fact that Zowell played a role in the defeat of the engine of the Burning Legion, the imprisonment of Sargeras, and that he used the Titan World Soul in order to break the Arbiter and pave his way to freedom within the Shadows. Turns out the helm and the sword were created by the Primus, the war guy of the Shadowlands, who was at the time turned into the Runecarver and just forced to forge these pieces of gear. All of this was done as a part of the Jailer's plan so that he can establish his influence on Azeroth, and it's so he can claim the final prize, which, as far as we know at this point, is without a doubt the World Soul of Azeroth that he is quite literally attacking in the final raid encounter within the Sepulchre. Well, I've gone a bit too far, as that is, as far as we know, the actual ending of the Shadowlands, and big spoiler alert, he is defeated. I know, big shock. However, until we reach that point, there is actually a really big questline with the ultimate goal of defeating the Jailer, but there are also other pieces to this puzzle that amount to this final goal. So, at the start, we begin exploring Zereth Mortis, and we have the goal of freeing Anduin. We obviously accomplish that, and then we continue to go towards the Jailer as the story further unravels. So what happens is that the Primus realizes we need to reforge the Helm of Domination in order to resist the Jailer's mind control so that we have a chance at fighting him. I know, incredibly confusing, because as you may be aware, the Primus created this domination magic, but apparently Zowell is more well versed in it than him, and it takes him a while to figure out how to counter something he personally created. However, we started learning the Automa language, which honestly is just glorified time gating, and all of that is done in the goal of gathering memories of those tortured by this helm, so that ultimately it can be turned into the so-called Helm of Wills. Now, this cinematic was data mined ages ago, at least the name, but about a week or 2 ago, we got the actual cinematic, and it is as lame as you would expect. We get a Warlords of Draenor-esque, Draenor is freed vibe of everyone rejoicing and saying for the Shadowlands and for Azeroth, and then the Primus turns the most iconic helm of the entire Warcraft franchise into a golden generic looking crown, while Sylvanas exclaims that a Lich King will never rule in Icecrown again, and later on she says that we are more than just slaves to our torment and a bunch of other stuff. Now, have two main thoughts in regards to this. First, this should legit be a full CGI cinematic, like a full-blown Saurfang versus Sylvanas dual type cinematic, not a super simple, clunky in-game one. Second, I was wrong that the helm would be used to reforge the Lich King. It won't. Initially, we knew that there was a cinematic called Reforging the Helm, and we knew about the appearance of Arthas, so we could only speculate that this reforged helm would be the crown for a benevolent Lich King that would maintain peace instead of terror back on Azeroth. However, recently we got a new Arbiter model, and guess what? The helm is literally used by the new Arbiter. If you're not up to date with what happens, this is the shortest summary possible. During the main campaign, we realized that the new Arbiter needs to be made, so we need to find a vessel and a voice. We find a vessel, but then a Dreadlord shows up and tries to imbue Argus' soul into the new Arbiter so that they can maintain full control over the Shadowlands. Pelagos, the random guy from Bastion, sacrifices himself and becomes the new Arbiter, and he also gets a completely new model. Now, get this is the best part. Blizzard decides that this new character they just made up a year ago totally deserves to wear the crown of Ner'zhul, Arthas, and Bolvar, the crown back from Warcraft 3, and not only wear it, but wear a completely transformed version. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, this thing like legit offended me as a fan of the Warcraft series since pretty much the start. I've already made 2 videos in regards to the creation of the new Arbiter, and I can't say I was exactly thrilled that Pelagos became a new Arbiter, but I honestly didn't mind all that much. The Arbiter was a completely brand new concept they just introduced in the Shadowlands, not exactly a person we cared about before, and Pelagos is a minor character, so my reaction was like, okay, whatever. However, what they had done now is just so completely outrageous. I definitely do not think Pelagos is a character that deserves to wear the most iconic crown in all of Warcraft, especially this butchered version. I know there is quite a bit of controversy on Pelagos. People claim that it is about orientation, politics, whatever, but literally could not care less. It really boils down to the fact that dude, this new Arbiter is just such a minor character that no one actually cares about. Now, I know there's gonna be some genius in the comments that will say something like, but you didn't play through Bastion, he was obviously very important, and I say no, he was not. I played through the entire campaign. Kyrian weren't my main covenant, I did the Ventir, but I've gone through the entire story, I followed everything, and no, Pelagos is not a major character whatsoever. He's literally a side quest character with barely any development, and I'm guessing most of you don't even remember who he is, like he was only in the main questline and a bit of Bastion. I'm not saying he was a bad character or anything, but his development is so disproportional to the significance he has achieved, especially wearing the crown of Arthas. Arthas is actually a crown. With the Arbiter, I was okay with, since Arbiter is also a new concept, but this is just way too overboard. Of course, I wouldn't have any problems with Pelagos becoming the Arbiter and wearing the crown if he was actually, you know, a well-developed character, if we had actually seen this guy for years, if he was in the books, if he was at least similar in significance to someone like Illyria or Thralian, for example. However, they literally just made up this guy. They thought it was a great idea to not only turn him into a literal god, but to reforge the most iconic helm ever and to give it to him. Like, he totally deserved this entire time. I don't know about you, but to me, this is really ruining the Warcraft 3 legacy and the story that was built for well over 2 decades. Thank you for watching. Check out what Sylvanas be redeemed by clicking on the screen, and check out Norns Academy for videos on real world history. See you next time.